Welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. On today's episode, I'm sitting down with Big Chris and Justin from Fxr-Division at their shop in Phoenix, Arizona. So today I have notes just to kind of help myself out with this because last week was a little bit tough. But guys, I do need to note that the audio on this episode may sound a bit processed. Justin's mic wasn't recording and there was a ton of background noise. So I did my best to remove it and level the voice out as good as I possibly could. This was the first podcast on my ride out west, and it was also a new setup. So I just didn't properly set it up. It's on me. My bad. On this episode, we're talking about the M8 FXR craze, the recent Harley Indian feud, if you will, and just generally catching up with the guys at the shop and seeing how life and business has been going for them. Before we jump into this episode, I need to talk about my sponsors real quick. They help keep this show going, and if you don't mind, check them out. They do offer some great things for you, your motorcycle, and your experience on them. Thundermax USA will be at Black Hills Harley-Davidson for the 86th Sturgis Rally, doing installs right there on the spot. Go check them out. Get properly educated on how their ECM modules can drastically improve your riding experience. Arlen S Motorcycles has everything you need to take your Harley-Davidson from stock to all-out custom, from custom wheels and carbon fiber bodywork to even titanium 12-point hardware, which I'm putting on my bike now. Absolutely sick. Check the link in the description to visit their website and enter the Fast Life 10 offer code, which is going to save you 10% off on your purchase. It's a really great deal. Don't sleep on that. If you're looking for a new or used Harley-Davidson, I highly recommend my guys at Cowboy Harley-Davidson in South Austin, Texas. I've been working with them for many years. I bought my first bike from them, which was an FXR back in 2016. Hit the link in the description and let them help you get dialed in on a new or used motorcycle for this 2026 motorcycle riding season. If you or someone you know has been in a motorcycle accident, 1-800-LAW-TIRES is the first call you need to make. They're going to stand up for you against the insurance companies, which have zero interest in properly helping you get back on your feet. Again, 1-800-LAW-TIRES if you or someone you know has been in a motorcycle accident. Kabuto motorcycle helmets, my helmet of choice. I am currently holding on to the new Aeroblade model, which is my personal one that I'm actually going to be custom painting here very soon for Sturgis. They're lightweight. They're my go-to straight up. I'm not even going to front, man. I've been wearing this helmet over every other model that they have on the street. It's lightweight, great airflow going through the shell while you're riding. It's quiet. The detents are absolutely sick. I love this helmet, and I can't wait to put some paint on it so you guys can see the potential of this brand, this helmet. And if you're ready to step up your helmet game and get into some high-quality helmets, Kabuto helmets, get the links in the description down below. Guys, now let's get into this episode with my guys over at Fxr-Division. Man, it's been a while since I mean, you've had a fucking crazy run
last couple
2
years,
you know. I think the last podcast that we did together was y'all were in the studio, but y'all were coming from Born Free, Texas, but it was before the tour, I believe.
It was the first Born Free, Texas.
That's right, yeah. Because I remember, I think y'all shipped some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like a booth or something like that.
Before Born Free, Texas, or like on our way to or on our way from?
Oh, that was yeah, we were just coming out for the first Born Free. We were just doing it as a ride because TBJ Brian was with us. And that was when my bike went down and we ended up renting a car and having like a chase vehicle and everything like that.
Yeah.
I believe that was that trip.
That was when we very first finished our red lights.
Yeah.
And that was kind of we had done a maiden voyage. We went like up from here and took a day, did like almost 500 miles, did a loop up to Winslow, and came back down and around. Those were the only miles we had on them. And then we were around town a little bit, and then
going across country.
So, a month later or so, we just headed out to go to Texas for the first Born Free Texas.
Yeah, it felt like it was off that first Born Free and everybody being there that Mike and Grant was asking about like doing something bigger, and that's how the tour stuff happened. But man, I feel like that first year of the tour, man, like that's I think it's legendary. How do y'all like? Not to throw any shade, I'm not trying to do that at like the builder sense, because there's been some cool ass bikes that's come out of it, 100%, right? But what do you feel about like the first year tour, just in general, like looking back on it,
It was, I mean, that was like it was super cool because everybody knew everybody. Everyone was friends with everybody. Everyone was helping everybody if they needed help. Yeah. It was just, there was no egos. There was no nothing. It was just, hey, let's do this. Let's get it done. And then when we were all hanging out together, it was, everything, it was just fluid, I guess would be the best way to put it.
All the way along, like in the chat leading up to it, like it was nothing but, there's a lot of shit talk, but it was camaraderie.
Yeah.
So, but everybody trying to jump in to help everybody find parts that they needed.
Dude, that last 2 months, man, everybody that needed help in there, like, it was a moral support as well as like a resource for like, parts or whatever. Sure. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was cool. Everybody had always said, like, they always say this about like custom built bikes, like, oh, can they ride it or whatever? And it felt like just blending the epicness of what the Hot Bike Tour was with, these specific style bikes that are relatively affordable. Like, there's so many different ways you can do an FXR, from, keeping it kind of OG or going all the way out like you have with the, a monoshock and, fitting a Softail motor into it.
I don't know about affordable anymore. It's nothing's affordable. I mean, you get a $4,000 FXR, and the first thing you do is you're $5,000 into it just to get that thing running halfway decent, or with some bars of seat and exhaust.
Yeah.
And then from there it's.
You get a bars of seat and exhaust for $1,000?
No, I said 5,000. You're like $5,000. Yeah. No.
Okay, you're saying another
$5,000 into it. Yeah. Unless you're like hammering swap meets and just like trying to find the gold mine of parts for nothing and then getting lucky, Well,
that's the age-old thing about the FXR, is that if you do put all that money into it and just get it back to baseline, charging system, battery, brake fluid, brake line, like the maintenance stuff, you take that all that, they're fucking pretty reliable.
Oh, they're super reliable.
It's the guy that like, oh, I think I can just put a new battery on and some starter fluid, and now I'm gonna go rip it across the country. I'm like, you're rolling the dice, but it can happen, but it could also, like, charging system goes out, fucking clutches go out, all that.
That's the thing with them too, is you don't know how many hands have been on them by the time you get it, how many owners, you get them. I mean, we get them in here all the time where it's just a clusterfuck of different shit, and by the time the customer's all said and done and they're leaving with something reliable, there's a little bit of sticker shock sometimes. Other times they know exactly what they're doing, and we're just tearing it all the way down to the frame and redoing everything, because it's going to be their forever bike. It's going to be one that's going to stay in their stable. They'll have their other bikes, but this is done exactly how they want it. They're going to keep it. They're going to kick it down to their kid. Or
why do you think that the FXR is the forever bike? Do you think it's because generationally, a lot of us are in that age range of those bikes? Like,
I think so.
Do you have a birth year FXR, or are you a little bit older than that?
I'm a little bit older than that. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, we're getting customers now where their dads have given them to them. Their dads bought the bike original in the 80s. That was like their bike, or in the early 90s, and now they're done riding or they're on to something else, and it's just been sitting in the garage or whatever. They've given them to them, or the dad passed away and the kid ended up with the bike, or I mean, even grown men now are ending up with their dad's old FXRs and shit like that, and bringing them to us, or calling us for parts because they're bringing them back to life and then making it theirs so that they can kick it down to.
But I hear the FXR being the bike that doesn't leave the stable way more than I hear someone saying, like, well, my FXDS or my FXDX is, it doesn't have that same, like
maybe it just hasn't reached. It's that the Dyna stuff isn't old enough yet. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they have too much thought on that. I mean, it also could be that the bike's a pile of shit. So.
Yeah, they'll get you in with like a T-Sport or something like that. But honestly, that Liberty bike over there with the T-Sport fairing, that is the fucking best. That is the best way to do it, right? Get you a nice, clean FXR and put a full T-Sport front end on it.
The sport front fender on it too.
Yeah.
With the Liberty Mash paint. I think
That's the nice thing about the FXRs, though, is you can take the newer technology from the good stuff about Dynas and put them on those bikes and get them to ride and handle better.
Yeah.
You know, and then still get the performance and the non-wobble issues and being able to throw a shit ton of horsepower into that chassis and not worry about it flexing or doing weird shit going down the road, tearing motor mounts or whatever else, you know?
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things we were talking about earlier in the office over there, how it's just like a wave. But once you're kind of like making money in the wave, you can tell it. You can see it more real time when like it's popping up and down. And I feel like we're in another wave of it right now, if you know, to some degrry.
Yeah, I would agree. Like I said earlier, I think it's starting. We're seeing, I think, more, and I've seen more like with all that social media stuff or whatever. It seems like the more just simple classic bikes are coming back with the FXR stuff. Like people want more original bikes. That they're still going to do bars, still going to do a pipe on it, but like the overall aesthetic of the bike isn't super crazy. It's not, it's just a more classic, simple bike.
Yeah, nothing stands out more than just a super clean, like OG paint that's just shining and sparkling and like everything's clean and it's not clapped out, you know? Like you see those bikes at the shows and you automatically go straight to them versus the one that have like a crazy paint or whatever else.
Yeah.
You're always going to the one that's just super clean and classy and that's going to be timeless. And usually with our customers, we try to talk them into, you know, staying on the classy, timeless route because trends do come and fall away. But anytime you see an OG style paint job, you gravitate toward it, you know?
No, I can definitely see that. I pushed back on it quite a while because, you know, my line of work is to take that classy paint and make it some degree more, right? But also at the same time, I find myself like maybe like maturing in a sense of where a lot of the paint jobs that I personally want to do now are more in the like very tame side of things. And y'all's bikes have always been a testament to that, to where you don't overpower it with like graphics and things like that, but it's done tastefully to where it insinuates that it's been touched and it's custom and it goes with the bike, but not fucking, you know, tie-dye or some bullshit like that on it, you know?
Yeah.
That's that maturity is you hanging out with Corey. that's that melting of main drive and fast life.
Yeah. I think it's a blend, right? Because I feel like Corey's opening his eyes to more aftermarket and like more flashy stuff, but he still has an aesthetic and a taste and a style that like is tried and true classic, you know, that I'm definitely adopting a lot more of it. I mean, it's just when you're around it. I mean, if I worked here, I would naturally probably graduate towards a lot of y'all styling and the way that you guys see bikes and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff that we do is we're like less is more, you know? Everything we like it has to have flow. There's no one thing in particular that is just grabbing your eye to where you're like, oh my God, you know, everything just kind of meshes together really nicely so that when you're like looking over it, you're like, oh shit, look at that. Oh shit, look at that. Yeah. You know, instead of like just crazy shit like, what the fuck why'd they do that? Yeah. You know?
Wild feathers and shit. We like to say every piece complements the next.
Yeah.
As opposed to competing with each other just to make sure you know it's there.
When you guys are building a bike, like, do you kind of map out the entire project for like some kind of, or are you like sold on any kind of color scheme?
I really think it depends on the build. Most of the mechanics and the chassis and everything like that, we have a formula and like there's stuff that we know works, performs well, looks good, it's gonna have longevity. The customer's not going to have problems with it. We're not going to have problems with it. So we always kind of keep that solid base. And then when it comes to like colors and stuff like that, or color palettes, we just like stuff that plays well together. Like we talk about it, you know, again, like if there's any line work, we just like it to to be continuous and flow and not get cut up or chopped up or have something else slapped right in the middle to where it breaks it all up and you're like, what the what's the point in that,
Yeah. I like things to be super organic in a build process.
Yeah.
Like it's really cool, and I can appreciate the hell out of when guys they put a whole plan together, they sketch out the whole bike, everything is there, they know, that's like, it's impressive in its own way. It's a piece of art to be able to do all that.
Yeah.
So I can't draw for shit, so that doesn't pertain to me anyway. But for me, it's all the thought of that it just seems super boring to know what it's going to be before I even start.
Or
I don't
limiting.
It gets forced too, because you have this image and this expectation, and anybody in this world knows that once you start putting expectations on shit, all you're doing is setting yourself up for disappointment. Because you have this vision, but I guarantee 10 things are going to happen that are just going to tell you that no, that's not the right direction. That's not the right direction. And you're going to keep fighting it. You're going to keep fighting it. And you're going to keep fighting it. And then you're going to end up changing it because it's already telling you which direction it wants to go.
Yeah.
Like I've always, even since chopper days, I believe that bikes build themselves.
Yeah.
Like you can have an idea and know which direction you want it to go. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like that part will fall into your lap, or you'll already have it, or your buddy will already have it, or you'll be able to source it really, really easy. And it works like that. The minute that everything you're trying to do starts fighting you, like, oh, it's on back order for 6 years or fucking, then no, that's not going to fit. You're going to have to heavily modify it or this or that. It's not.
Yeah, forcing those things. Yeah.
Yeah, especially like with making things too. It's like you can have an idea, but just because it seems good in your head doesn't mean it's going to be a reality. And you're actually trying to adhere to that. But it seems boring to me to already know what you're going to build before you even start building it. I like to just let it go, let it be organic, let it flow. But like I said, it builds itself. Because it tells you what it wants. It speaks to you. And so many times you be like, all right, this is what we're planning to do. And then you get there, and you're like, oh, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We got to go this direction. It's saying it wants to go left. All right, we're going left. And turn around and go the opposite direction, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like you can't force it. And so
that's that roller chair decisions. Like when it's on the lift and you're sitting in the chair, kind of just scooting around and checking it out from the other angles, right? You guys saying like not sketching it out. I sketch out everything, but I'm also like more sketching the paint workout, right? As opposed to like the silhouette of the bike or the aesthetic of the bike or the stance. Like that's 100% agree that is what it's going to be. It's going to reveal it to you. It's mythical. It's fucking some crystals and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
like people that are really into it, they'll agree. They'll know exactly what you're talking about. Even in the hot rod industry and shit like that, anything that you're building, a piece of furniture or whatever, it's gonna do exactly what it's supposed to do. If it's gonna fight you if it doesn't want to be that way.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to put it. Right. Yeah.
So that's just my belief system, and I've experienced it time and time again. And the best shit that's come out of here is just it's happened just because it was supposed to happen that way. We weren't trying to force any fucking thing.
The stylistically thing between the Fxr-Division side of things and the Torch side of things, like how does that not like opposites attract? Is it like a magnet? Like how do I word this? It's like the bike that you built for the hot bike tour last year on the Torch thing versus like the typical or the thing that would normally come out of Fxr-Division. Like, is that like an outlet in a way of being able to kind of flex a different, more aesthetic towards things?
It can be. It's more like artistic, I think.
Yeah.
Just because it is like, everything is very much about nice flowy sexiness. Like it's not like an Fxr-Division bike has to look tough. Like it has to have a sexiness to it for sure. Like it all has to have a nice flow. But a Torch bike doesn't. It's going to end up being tough just because everything with that styling, in my opinion, for the most part, is tough. But it's a much more. It's a different feel. It's a very different feel. It's more like a vintage car, like an antique piece of furniture or something like that. It's just it has a different soul, and it speaks in different ways.
I asked that question because like when I was doing my chop, I really wanted an ape hanger bike.
Yeah.
I wanted something that is just completely out of the realm of what I normally do. Mm-hmm. But to your point, that is what it became. And it became a version of what I already do all the time. And so like with like that bike that you built for the hot bike tour last year and the FXR stuff, it's like, does it not get to a point where like, man, like these performance brakes or master cylinder or something from the FXR world that would just really solve a problem on that, you know?
I'm very able to separate the two.
Yeah.
Between if I'm getting on this, it's performance. If I'm getting on this, it's going to ride like shit. It's going to stop like shit. It's going to handle like shit. But it looks fucking bitchy. So it's like I can separate out the functionality from the aesthetics. Yeah. And I just know it's just like same thing. Like we both grew up with hot rod stuff, with lowrider stuff, with chopper stuff. So you know that when you get in, like when you go in the brand new truck, I know what that is.
Yeah.
But when I go get in an old car, an old truck, I know what that is too. Like I know what I'm getting into when I make that decision to take said vehicle or build said vehicle. Whatever. Like it's a completely different mindset, and both of us are very able to separate that. It's like I know I'm getting on this brand new road bike with 180 horsepower and will cruise from here to New York at 115 miles an hour, no problem. And I can do 180 miles and step off and just gas stop and quick stretch, and we're back on the bike.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to get on this torch bike that's going to beat the fucking dog shit out of me. But man, it looks fucking cool.
So do you not like want to chase that feeling versus does that feeling of this feels fucking cool not overpower the feeling of comfort ever?
Because they both have their own feeling of cool.
Yeah.
It's just different compartments in my brain.
Yeah, I think that's probably the problem I have is I don't have a compartment. It's like
but I feel
it's
like
all mixed in.
Because if you look at the chopper versus what you've done in the past, it's a different compartment.
It's a genre thing too.
Yeah.
Like on the FXR side, you those bikes were originally built to compete with the import market cruisers and stuff like that. So they were supposed to handle and still be comfortable and like cruisers.
Yeah.
You know. So it's just expanded on that. Now they're high performance cruisers, where you can go cross country and hit canyon passes, and if you're good enough, you could drag a knee and come out of it looking fucking like a rock star.
Yeah.
And then fucking
it's a different cool. Right?
Yeah, it's a different cool. And that's the thing with on the torch side, there's a lot more style and there's a lot more it's I mean, it's just like going to
like the FXR is more form and like more function maybe.
Oh yeah.
I don't even
I mean, even some of the torch stuff and everything now, especially with the way things are now, there's performance aspects to it where you're not getting your ass kicked as much as he says you're getting your ass kicked. Like there's 6-speed transmissions in there. The big thing is like on all the newer stuff, you can go fast. They're sleek, but they all have fairings and stuff like that. Breaks up the wind, which is a huge difference when you're going long distance.
Yeah.
Some of the motors that we're using on the torch build stuff are big inch shovel head and generator shovel stuff that can keep up with a big inch Evo or like a stock M8 kind of ish, but there's no fairing, there's nothing to break up the wind.
Yeah.
So you're just taking it all in, and it's a lot more rigid.
Well, it's like riding a bike like that. I would want to ride it at the pace that those kind of bikes ride at.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like riding the chop out here on 10, when I had to do stretches on 10, fucking miserable. Like trying to just not be a burden to the other fucking vehicles that are doing 90 and I'm sitting here putting along at 70. It just sucks. But then as soon as I get off on one of the roads heading here and it's just me and nothing in anywhere, you just like settle in. Like I don't have anywhere to be anywhere. Like this feels really good right here. And so I feel like these type of bikes, like once you ride them Like if you jump on a chopper and then you go ride with all your performance bagger buddies, like that's not going to work out too well.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and he's one of the very few people that is going to get on a bike that, you know, is just like an in-town cruiser. Like you can go to the bar, you can go to a picnic, you can go to like a lowrider show or whatever on your torch bike and be totally fine. But he's a fucking idiot and he wants to go on tours.
Yeah.
You know, and try to keep up with guys that have, you know, 150, 160, 170 horsepower motors.
Yeah.
You know, and there's hey, you got to be at this point at this particular time, you know, and he's the only one on a bike that, no, he just makes his own schedule. He tries to keep up.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all good. They came out bitching though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I say they're all my favorites, but as soon as they're finished, but it definitely is one of.
But you're gonna remember them too.
Yeah,
you're gonna remember.
That's the thing of it is like you're gonna see those at like in a line of every other bike. That bike is gonna stick out, no matter where you're at.
Well, I think that's also like maybe a testament to the fact that like now that like when you go to a hot bike tour or an FXR tour or any of the type of shows that we usually kind of end up seeing each other at, finding a way to do something that's not the normal thing there is kind of like maybe the move, maybe I don't know, and maybe like that's why I feel like so many people are getting like interested in other styles of bikes that exist within this realm of, you know, Harley Davidson and whatnot. You know, I don't know. It's
I mean, it's. I think it's gearing back more towards like a custom bike.
Yeah.
Right. Like we've gotten so far away from like the area that we came in on.
Yeah.
Where everything was handmade. It was all about custom bikes, whether it be
like one off.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you know, old style choppers or fat tire choppers or whatever. Like all of the emphasis was on one off shit and what, you know, such and such builder made by hand or did. That was what all the emphasis was on. And we've gotten to the point of, for, you know, a number of years now, where it's how much money can you spend on the coolest shit to bolt onto your bike? How fast does it go? How wild is your paint? How crazy are the colors on your powder coat or your anodizing or whatever? And I think it's starting to, you know, because we talked about like everything goes in cycles and ebbs and flows, and you know, I think we're towards the end of it. I'm not saying that the performance thing is over, because I think it's got a pretty good hold, and like a lot of us at this age are like, but we're also to the point where, you know, we afford two bikes.
Yeah.
A lot of the people from our generation now, we can afford two bikes, so I can have a road bike that I can jump on and a performance bagger and I can rip wherever, and I can also have a torch bike or an old chopper or an original bandhead or knucklehead or whatever, and I can have that experience and that feeling as well. So I think we're getting to maybe a balance point to where both are appreciated and both are respected, which I'm happy to see.
I could agree,
as individuals that we like to make as much as we can, and we pride ourselves on the custom making aspect of it, and just that whole you know, one-off side of it.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that I want to be appreciated. I want it to get back to a point where people don't just walk past the handmade bike to go to one that has a shining shit on it. Where we can find a happy medium. We can coexist.
Yeah, I think what a lot of the guys that maybe came into the culture on performance baggers, like that was kind of like the thing that inspired them to want to get into this.
Yeah.
Maybe the hope is that they start to, like, you know, let their eyes wander into other styles of bikes and they'll find an appreciation for it, right? Or like what I've been trying to tell a lot of people is like, have a second bike that offers a different experience than the other bike. Like two road glides doesn't make a lot of sense, you know? I mean, if you got it, right? But, you know, like I have a gold FXR chopper and then I have a traditional Evo 5-speed to the 9s FXR. So those are two different riding bikes in a way, but, you know. No, I just wondered what your guys thought. What do you think is going to happen when the Buell comes out? Or is it out yet?
It's out, yeah. I mean, I don't really know. it's a fucking amazing motorcycle. It's fast as shit. It rides great. We're working on some parts for it. We've had one for a little while now. It's been a slower moving process than we wanted, just because of a lot of other shit we've had going on. But we are building a decent parts line for it that will be available sooner than later.
Yeah, it's all right now in the works.
Yeah.
Like we have parts that are 90% finished for the Buells. We have a number of other parts designed that just need to be finished at the machine shop.
Yeah.
We have a couple other ideas that, we're working on. We're working on custom exhaust stuff, just stuff that's not out there.
Yeah.
It's a good solid crossover bike, because it's basically a cruiser bike with a sport bike chassis or a sport bike drivetrain.
Yeah.
We're looking off camera physics.
Yeah.
That's what we're all looking at.
Yeah. Staring at the Buell.
Well, I think, it'd be interesting to see how, so I think you had said it on like I said, on the way out here, I was in my AirPods listening to the podcast he did with Law Tigers, and a lot of great stuff in that podcast. You had mentioned that, to the effect of if dudes want an FXR and they spend $25,000, they can have a pretty nice FXR. So it's kind of if you want to buy this because it has an FXR aesthetic with all the bells and whistles, you have that option here, right? So
for sure. And it doesn't need much to probably be a better bike than that $25,000 FXR. And by much, I mean it doesn't really need anything mechanically. It needs some stuff aesthetically.
Aesthetically, yeah.
To bring it to the point of looking as good as that $25,000 FXR. So now, obviously that's the base price point on the bike. So you're going to keep more than that. But for less than you can go in and buy a new ST, or maybe about the same price you can go in and buy a new ST, you can be pretty close to having a pretty comparable motorcycle. But it's another thing too. It's kind of hard to compare. It's similar to when people ask, a common question we've gotten over the last handful of years is Road Glide or our version of a Pan America. It's a completely different motorcycle. It's kind of hard to compare because the Buell is more sport bike based. Yeah. So it's a higher RPM bike. It doesn't have any torque on the low end. It's a very different feel. Yeah. So it's hard to compare the two motorcycles. So to ask, is the Buell better than an FXR or vice versa? They're completely different motorcycles. It depends on what you want that feel to be, because the bike has a completely different feel to it. Yeah.
Do you think maybe sometimes people don't realize how much torque plays into what it feels like to ride a Harley? Maybe they focus on...
You ride one of these, or you ride a Pan America, and you understand, the first couple times I rode our Pan America, I stalled it at stoplights or stop signs or whatever, just roll up, because I would just low RPM, just burp, and try to go out of it, and it just dies. What the fuck? Well, this thing doesn't have any torque. You can't leave the light at 1,500, 2,000 RPM, and it just pulls itself through. You got to leave the light at 4,000 RPM. It's okay. So it's.
And those bikes are happy at 6,500 RPM and higher. Yeah. That's where they're really alive and doing what they're supposed to do. Whereas you're at those RPMs on a Harley or a big twin, and that thing is screaming at you to chill the fuck out. But that torque is on the Harley. That's what really makes those bikes. Just having that low end sit down and just pull that you feel. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, I bring it up just because I really wonder what it's gonna if younger generations that find Harley Davidson or these style of bikes that becomes an option, are they're not married to the way that a Harley feels to me. I need that, as opposed to I could ride that. I don't know if it's something I would buy, and not to throw shade at it or anything, but just it doesn't appeal to me. Same way a Pan America doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah. I think that's where like generational shit's going to come into play too. Is because we all cut our teeth on torquey big twin shit.
Yeah.
Even if it was only 50 horsepower or whatever, it was still there. That chop was there. That grunt of that motor was always there. You know, so newer guys coming into having these options and never really experiencing what we got to experience. So we have something to compare it to. They don't really have that to compare it to. So,
and even the guys that are coming from sport bikes, that's a great platform because you're used to a sport bike, but you want a Harley feel.
Yeah.
Like as far as like you know, the way you sitting position, you know, taller bars, whatever. This is essentially a sport bike motor in an FXR frame. So you're melting those two together. Or is the person who again wants more than one bike, but they want completely different bikes, you can have your Road Glide and you can have this. Like it's a great second bike. It's not like, I don't know that I want to ride it across country. At least not with the way it is now.
Yeah, not the way.
Fairing and some bags and stuff is another thing that we're working on.
Which is what we were talking about earlier. Is like that's a nice thing about like all the newer bikes and like the performance bikes is you have that wind to break up, whereas on a chopper or a torch built bike, you know, you don't have that. So you're really gonna be taking it all in, and it's not gonna be. It's going to be a totally different ride. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that, like, if I was riding my chopper the way I ride my FXRs or my bagger, then wind would be an issue. But we had mentioned it earlier. It's like when you jump on a chopper, like, that full face just doesn't fit. And I just feel like that becomes, like, a bigger thing in the wind versus, like, that little 3/4 or little, you know, bucket, like, helps minimize, like, that wind, you know, catching, whatever the fuck. But
Is that legit, or is that just like a, hey, I look fucking goofy as fuck with a Simpson helmet on this chopper? But
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm a caboodle guy now. No, I think that it just like I don't know, man. Like there's definitely a level of probably some cosplay involved in that. Like when you get on a chopper, or when I get on mine, like I still, you know, feel like I dress the same way, but I try to wear darker clothes now because they're all fucking stained in oil. Like there's a little skid mark down the left side of my fucking body on everything that I own that, I've worn that on the chopper. It's marked everything, right? So there's a certain aspect that kind of starts to go into play where it's like, all right, well those are chopper clothes because I don't want to fuck up another pair of nice jeans or whatever. But when it comes to the helmet, when you're moving around like 55, 65, 70 miles an hour, that wind on your face isn't fucking blowing your cheeks back and putting your beard in your nose. So it's like, this feels good, right? Pushing my chop up to 80, 85, you know, then you start, cheeks are flapping in the wind, fucking, then it's not good. So maybe if I didn't have, you know, maybe getting a 6-speed is not the move on a chopper and I can keep it.
Last year's hot bike tour on the torch build, it was a 93-inch SNS and a Baker 6-speed. So like that bike, it scooted along at 85, 90, but it wasn't super comfortable. So like I could keep up with everybody, and like we would get a number of times, got the gas stops, people thought I think ribs. It does well. I mean, it's just not. It's not sustainable. I'm not doing that for hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
You know, you're 90 for a little bit, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back. Yeah. Do a little bit at 70,
the bike can handle it, but physically it's just super.
It's a lot of vibrations.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it goes back to what we were saying, is that it needs to be, you need to ride the chopper as a chopper and not as a performance bike.
Right.
You know, because if you try to ride these performance bikes with these big ass motors at 55 miles an hour, it's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, take me home. It's not what I signed up for.
My Road Glide 6th gear is completely useless for 100.
Yeah.
It's like 98, 99, right around there is when I click 6th gear.
Yeah.
You know, about 115 is where it is.
Perfect.
It seems to be absolutely happy. I'm at 3,600 RPM, just scoop.
Fucking high.
Yeah, but that's another thing too. Is like like you see a pack full of performance bikes, whether they're FXRs, baggers, whatever. You'll look at them, but if you see a pack of choppers, like old panhead, knucklehead, shovelhead choppers all riding together, that's like you're gonna pay more attention to that whole pack and watch them on their journey than you are these dudes that are just all boom, 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 you know? You'd be like, fuck, dude, those things are badass because they're just nostalgia. And
I think that, but also like you can actually witness it. You could see dudes, folks riding together, and you can kind of witness like that camaraderie of what a bike can do. And not as like throwing shade towards like performance bikes where you're just zooming through.
Yeah.
But to your point, like you're not really capturing that moment the same way. Yeah, and dude,
it's just a completely different feel too. Like I said,
dude,
it gets to that. It's two bikes with completely different soul.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm gonna stop what I'm doing to watch this pack of old bikes move through because there's just this ambiance coming off.
But I mean, I assume you guys have been a part of that pack before.
Oh yeah.
It fucking feels sick, dude. It really does. Like,
I think anytime you're in a group, or even with a couple of your buddies riding, it feels great. Doesn't matter what fucking bike you're on.
Yeah.
You know, it's 2-wheel time, fucking wind in your face. You know, no matter whether you got a full face helmet on or not. You know, you're still on 2 wheels with your buddies doing your thing, chopper or not. You know, yeah, it's nice having performance bikes because then you just it gives a different level to the experience because you're not the whole time you're riding, you're not listening to your motor. You're not like worried about, man, is something gonna fucking fall off or is that a fucking lifter tick I hear, or is my valve fucking clanking because I'm pushing this thing too hard or whatever. Because when you're on a chopper, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like anybody who has a chopper, the whole time you're just listening to your fucking bike. I mean, so having like an open face helmet is probably kind of nice because you're not going to want to have AirPods in or anything like that because you're going to want to be listening to what's going on your bike, you know?
Yeah.
The nice thing about the performance bikes is you don't have to worry about that. You just, hey, I'm going to get from here to here and I can enjoy the ride. I can haul ass if I want. I can relax if I want. I can listen to fucking whoever I want in my in my music and wear my helmet and be good to go.
Yeah, I'm with you on it, man. I'm just, right now I'm like so horny for the chopper. So it's like, maybe I'm trying to justify a lot of things about it. It's probably like, maybe after this trip, I'm going to be like, yeah, that wasn't that sick. It felt sick in the time and I wanted it to be sick because I've made an expectation in my head for it to be sick. But, you know.
You're getting a whole different experience than most people are though, too. Because you're doing it solo, you know? Like most of this trip, you're doing it all by yourself. Yeah. If you had a couple other dudes that were on choppers and you guys were like sharing that experience, I think your perspective would be totally different, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there is an aspect where I want to have that feeling as well of traveling a longer distance with somebody else on a chopper and like going through this stuff with them. But I mean, I just needed to get this out of my system, or at least this part of it. I needed to do this experience. You know, building the bike with Corey and then finally having it done, learning how to fucking start it, which was its own process.
Changes every bike too.
Yeah, it changes when you fucking change a jet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, learning all these aspects has been like a rite of passage for myself that I'm, you know, I'm very like stoked about. And I would like to say that I think everybody should go through this experience because I think it makes you appreciate all bikes a little bit differently. You know, it's like it's really easy to appreciate the convenience of what these modern baggers and lowrider STs can do when you come from that world, as opposed to
for sure.
The opposite here, where I come from this world going backwards. You know, I'm hoping that I'm appreciating the simplicity of a chopper and the simplicity of a ride and the lack of things like you said a while ago, like you're listening to your bike. So you're smelling, listening, feeling it, as opposed to when you ride that, there's a screen that tells you fucking everything in the world. It's probably even tells you what the weather is in Chicago. It's like, it's too much information at some points. for me at least at this point in time. So I've struggled with that when I go jump on the road glide, you know, and I'm like, man, like I wish I could turn the screen off, you know, because it's that big now, you know. But
on those brand new stuff,
I don't know. I'm not sharing these thoughts and these like kind of you know, in the moment opinions about these experiences. It sounds like, I think for listeners, it would probably sound like I'm like shitting on newer bikes, and I'm not. It's just I'm trying to paint the picture of what it feels like riding something old and what it's felt like riding something new for the last, you know, 15 years of my life. So, and I mean, as soon as I get home from this trip, I'm going to finish the road glide, and that's going to be Sturgis, fucking, you know, Glacier Park, National Park, and a whole journey of itself. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that, but I needed to get this out of my system. You know, and fuck, I might, you know, it might be staying here. We'll see how the weather treats it in the next 2 days. I'll be catching a little Southwest Airlines flight home. Hit the road glide and come back to board free.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I was, you know, of course, like you jumping on this trip, that was definitely on my thoughts. Like, okay, you know, every gas stop, be like, oh shit, fuck, damn, further. And then I think it's when you get comfortable, like you stop worrying is when it starts fucking up. So I'm trying to keep worrying about it.
Maybe. I don't know. And when you said though, it's a completely different experience. Unless you've done both,
Yeah.
you can't really compare both.
Yeah.
It's like most things in life. You can tell somebody about it to blue in the face, but until they actually experience it, they don't understand.
Yeah, and the way that we started on choppers.
Yeah.
You know, everything was, you know, 4-speed kick only, no suspension whatsoever, rigid.
Yeah.
You know, you're lucky to make 100 miles or 135 miles to a gas stop. You're lucky to not have to pull over on the way there because somebody's bike's doing some fucked up thing, and you know, y'all pull over to kind of help them figure it out. You know.
Yeah.
So.
So what? I mean, you pulling out the Survivor we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Checking out earlier. So what prompted that feeling of dusting that thing off?
I mean, like you said, like I've had a crazy last 2 years. You know, I had a major motorcycle accident where I went down and compound fractured my tib fib, and ended up having multiple surgeries and it getting infected and having hardware installed, removed, installed, and then retaken out was like the last surgery because of the infection. And then just my whole life changing because of like the effect it had on my body over the last 2 years and stuff like that. And then riding and stuff like that. It's just been different. And that was one of my, I mean, every bike that I did during the Foundry Moto days, I loved, but that was the one that I always knew I was going to keep. And it was just time, you know.
Yeah.
It was just time to pull it out and change the fluids and put a battery in it and get it going and fucking kickstart it and watch all the fucking rat shit and everything shoot out of the exhaust. You know?
Yeah, that's gonna go in the YouTube video when I drop it. So
yeah,
I got a good angle of that. I actually think I got fucking hit by some acorns.
Yeah, when it finally fired up, when I realized the key was off. Yeah,
got some prime kicks in.
Yeah.
Maybe 30 or 40.
Yeah, but that like that bike, like after it fired up and it shut off, like that's always been like a 1 or 2 kick bike.
For real.
You know, and that was a brand new carburetor and everything that was on there, so I knew it was going to take a little, but like I was happy that after we shut it down that it only took 1 or 2 kicks and it fired right back up, you know. So I'm really looking forward to riding it. It'll be good. And I am busting out my open face matching fucking chopper guy helmet for it too.
Can't be in the
survive, man.
Yeah.
Around on the chopper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you value your life too much if you do that. That's not chopper at all.
No.
That's not chopper. You gotta look tough. You don't look so tough as to wear no helmet, but
Yeah.
I guess riding performance motorcycles in general and getting so familiar wearing a full face, like even like the little times here and there, I've like ripped the chopper like from my house to the shop, like, and I don't wear a helmet. It feels off, like something.
It feels off.
Sketchy.
Yeah.
It feels sketchy. I mean, I grew up riding dirt bikes and stuff, so you always had your helmet on. So anytime that I didn't have a helmet on, even like in the early days, like chopper shit, even like, oh, we're too cool for helmets, I still just always felt like,
yeah,
I need to be wearing something. So then we got, then it came into the open face helmets, and in that days they were all just novelty.
Yeah.
You couldn't really find any that were the DOT. So
yeah, none of them are.
Feel a little warmer.
Yeah.
But it wasn't doing shit if you hit the ground. I think it was going to split open and fall off your face anyway.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you just like hit the ground and slide, and then it'll just slide on me and shit.
Yeah. Hopefully you just don't hit the ground.
Yeah, that's always the option.
Yeah.
That's the goal. Not go down. What's up with the FXR chop over there? What's that for? The M8 fucking to the.
That's a friend and customer of ours decided that, he had to have one, and he was willing and trusting us to give him exactly what he wants. And
Is that a Gen 2 motor?
no,
Not. Are y'all gonna do the oil lines over the top? Or are you gonna do them in a different way?
Do them rattled down.
Yeah.
Around. The oil tank or the oil cooler will be underneath the transmission in the back,
Okay.
and then just kind of what it does. Fin.
Oh,
plate.
so that's why it's so open back there. I was
Yeah.
looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a plate all drawn up and designed to cut out.
yeah, we're gonna.
Now, we got a little cooler set on, and we'll have let's hit some little bits in it to
Yeah, direct some air.
Yeah, just clean it up with some nice.
Yeah, just with it being 8 up, because it's 8 up and it's an inch and a half out, but that's the minimal that we could do and keep the down tubes at the same angle without smashing. You can't, because obviously you have to give some when you do that in order to not hit the motor or look real goofy coming around and up into it. So it's 8 up, an inch and a half out, stock rake, but it looks so good on the front of the frame without any oil cooler there, and there's so much frame there that if you were to try to put an oil cooler there, it would look off. Yeah, like it's not filling the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like not unproportionate. At least like on a factory bike, especially like now with these days we run the soft toe rather than running the bagger one down low, because it just looks a lot better and it fits in the frame better. But there's only a few inches above it,
and it's usually like tucked under the triple trees and probably a fairing.
You don't really see it. Just by having so much down tube, there's no way we could do that.
Yeah,
we had to fix that.
And it would pull away from the whole chopper feel.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing on that, is to try to strip it down with it still being fuel injected and everything.
It's a wild balance trying to mix the two.
Yeah.
The chopper, I mean, you've done it already. Trying to mix the performance FXR with a chopper, it's kind of it's a challenge for sure. Trying to find that balance of touching on both, but not having it look ridiculous. It's been a little bit of a...
Yeah, I mean, because when your tank's in the air, then it exposes the fuel pump. Right. And there's not really a lot of space. And I don't even know how... Is external fuel pumps even a thing, really?
Yeah, we looked into this. There was something else we were doing that was fuel injected. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out...
Like
Pan America. All in Pan America, I was trying to figure out not putting the fuel pump in the tank just to have that much more fuel and then not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I looked and like the smallest external one you can find is this huge tube that creates enough PSI, and that was 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe there's something magical now.
Who knows?
It changes day by day these days, but there was nothing that we could come back with. But on that one with the tank, we didn't want to mount, with it being 8 up, we didn't want to mount the tank directly on top of the backbone. So we had to take and it's always a internal battle of, do we just make a whole tank from scratch, or do we find something that already works? Because we used a street bob tank.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a street bob tank.
Oh, is that the one that's over there that's chopped?
Yeah,
okay.
It already has the pump plate and everything already integrated into it.
And it had a nice shape to it.
Yeah, it's got a kind of a chopper feel. It looked ridiculous in like completely stock form, but from a side view, it's like okay, and just from a rear view too. But it looked really awkward. Like the size of it looked awkward. So we cut it. We cut the whole center section out of it. Made a whole new center section tunnel and everything. Dropped it down because the other challenge was trying to fill some of that negative space between the motor and the neck.
Yeah.
To make it feel not like it's 8 inches up, like it's a more balanced stretch. So we brought it down till basically just cutting the tank in half and just holding it up there until it's like, all right, that looks good. Let's figure out making the center section and the backbone, tunnel section and everything from there. And then planning also to make a dash for it that is kind of FXR-ish with a fuel gauge in it and like just a complement.
How are you gonna get the fuel gauge in there? Oh, does the
it has. You see the tank. It has the backbone area is kind of sunk down.
Okay.
The tunnel area rather is sunk down on the top side, so it's got maybe 3/4 of an inch or so.
Trouble-wise.
Okay. 3/4 of an inch or so of a channel in there.
Yeah.
That will have plenty of room in there to mount put it gauge. And then the dash too, like it's going to be FXR-ish, so it's going to stick up a little ways. So there'll be plenty of wide like that.
So it'll kind of give it also like a chopper feel with the dash. It's sitting lower, will take up some of the space, and then the dash on top will give it some of that height, so it'll still have kind of that nice chopper look to it.
What's like taking like an Evo Dyna, right, and doing something like that? Is it possible to just like, it's fabrication, right? Just like hard mount the swing arm to the frame, like through that backbone or that rear down tube, and like
on the Dyna?
Yeah, like maybe removing the aspect of it going through the motor. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I don't know, because it seems like those Evo Dynas are cheap as fuck, and you could easily. I've seen someone did one recently. It looks pretty damn good. Like
we finished one up for our buddy Grizz.
Is that might be the one I'm thinking about?
Yeah, it's a chrome frame. Like the tank is blue with like black flame. Tank of sheet metal, black flames on it. It was. I don't know how up time it was. It's pretty up. It's got to be.
It's pretty up.
For real.
It's 8 to 10 inches up. Buddy Frank Flirkin did all the fab and everything on the frame wise, and then it came here, and we just finished some of the fab on it, and the tank was already mounted. With the exhaust, seat.
Fan, motor, transmission, swing arm.
And then we assembled it for the most part for him. Even that thing, like, it didn't have the top motor mount in it. At one point, Chris came over and like grabbed the motor and just just it's a big wet noodle. Just because this one little link's not on the top of it.
And the swing arm is fucking flopping around too because of just that crazy design where the motor mount and the transmission and the swing arm are all play off of each other, you know, on those Dynas. So
yeah, it's insane. I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing more of this, and I think it's a good gateway drug to like real in-depth custom chopper-ish type bikes. I feel like because having all the modern amenities of what you would want, push button start, get up and go, but also like it's got an aesthetic, right? Because I feel like that for myself, that's what it was. The FXR chop was, all right, it's a chopper, swing arm chop, whatever you want to call it, but it's like it has everything. And then I went and rode with all these fucking dudes on old Knuckles, Pans, and shovel heads, and all their shit was, they all had their bikes were starting, they were running, we were running around. Like if they can do it, I can do it. Not as a dig at them, but just being a man. Like if they can fucking do this, I can, right? What I'm getting at with a lot of people asking me is like, well, I want to do a chopper, but I want to do everything that's like hard about it. They don't want to do that. And to be fair, I didn't either at first. I wanted this to look, and I think it's like the gateway drug into like a deeper, like shittier bike experience. I don't know.
I would say that don't be a pussy, just go do heroin. Just skip gateway drugs are for pussies.
Skip weed. Remember the hard shit. Yeah, no, that's wild. So I mean, Chris, since you've been back, like how long were you out? Like,
I don't know. I mean, it was just a roller coaster. I think the first time it was like eight, maybe 12 weeks. I mean, I was popping in and I was still doing a lot of stuff at home mobily, and Justin and the guys were picking up the slack here, and my wife would come in and she'd help and she'd drag my ass down here and whatnot. But it was just a roller coaster, because every time that I finally got cleared to start walking or whatever, then something would happen. Like the first two surgeries was to repair, and then I was cleared to start walking, and then it just wasn't healing right, and it happened in another state, and so I had to come back here and find a specialist here, and then they had to go re-break everything and take all the hardware out, and then put all new hardware in on another surgery. And then once I started healing from that, and that was more involved because they ended up cutting open my knee and fucking driving a big ass rod down my leg, and then plating up the other part and having to re-break both bones to get everything to sit right. So like I had a bunch of knee pain and screws in my knee and more in my ankle and all that other stuff. And then right after I started being able to walk from that, like I came to the shop and I was working one day and I just felt like I had the flu or something. I just pushed through it all day, and then got home, passed out, like just fell asleep. Woke up the next day and I had this like pain in my groin area. I thought it was like a lymph node or something like that. Or actually I thought it might be a blood clot. So I went to the hospital. It turned out that my leg was infected. So they immediately admitted me to the hospital, and I spent a week in there where, like, one surgery they went in and cleaned out all the infection and took out some of the hardware, and then the other surgery they went in and took the rod out of my tibia, and I mean, that was shitty.
Yeah.
Just because you figured that, you know, that if you ever watch those surgeries, they fucking pretty much sledgehammer that thing into your leg in the first place. And the only way they can get it out is they have to have like a slide hammer to fucking yank that thing out. So I woke up from that surgery just in a lot of pain. And then like any pressure on my knee and all that other stuff, it was a longer recovery. Like I'm up and walking now and everything like that, but my ankle and stuff is kind of destroyed, and like I deal with swelling.
What caused the wreck up there in Sturgis? You remember?
We were in a group of guys riding, and we'd all accelerated, and then I was kind of mid or toward the back of the group, and somebody, I didn't see there was a car in front of all of us, and they stopped all of a sudden, so all I saw was a bunch of red lights, and I fucking jammed on the brake, and either I jammed on the brake and forgot that I was jammed on the brake, or it was sticking, but the bike wasn't stopping, and then it just kept fucking sliding. I was trying to control the slide, and I just kept getting closer to the group, and this car started to turn left, and I just figured, fuck, I don't want to go into anybody. I'm gonna fucking try and lay it down, and I just instinctually put my foot down, and I guess just tried to hop off the bike instead of fucking laying it down. It just slammed me to the ground and fractured my collarbone and most of my ribs on my left side too.
Remember, was it the? Huh?
We were fucking. It was him and I catching up to the pack.
Yeah.
We were fucking faster.
So remember,
trying to come up to the pack.
Where did we? Was it at the FXR show, or did you come to the house party and tell me about it? Because you told me about it.
I remember.
Yeah.
It was. I think the house party was prior to the invitation. I don't remember.
Did you go to the house party that we?
No.
You've been though.
Yeah, I went during that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we'd only been there for like 14 hours.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we flew in.
Yeah, it was after that.
Like we had two of our bikes were already there, and then we were just coming out just to have a couple of meetings and rip around a little bit and then come home. It was like a kind of a last minute quick deal. Just mostly just based off the meetings that like, hey, can you guys come meet up with us? We can go over some stuff, whatever. So we just like, all right, fuck it, let's get a plane ticket real quick. We'll get out there, and then we got there. We had a customer there that had 2 of our bikes. And so, like, yeah, just come stay at the house, ride the bikes, whatever. Like I said, we'd only been there 14 hours. We got there the day before. We had one meeting and then hung out that night. And the next morning,
we all got up to go for a ride.
Let's go for a ride. And then, like, maybe 30 minutes after we left the house was when it happened.
Yeah, we just got gas and everything like that. And who knows what it was? I don't know if because the bike had traveled. If who knows?
Yeah,
could have been mechanical. It could have been mine. The shit happened, and
it was just a lot of shit going on.
Yeah,
way too fucking fast.
And I mean that's
car. It stopped and went to make a left turn, so there was nowhere for us to go. I was on the Pan America, so it's a much lighter bike and it fucking stops faster. But even I was like
on it.
Yeah, he had ABS. I didn't have any ABS. I don't attribute that to anything because like riding choppers, that was our thing too. It was like we'd fucking haul ass up to the light and just power slide.
Yeah.
You know, no front brake, rear brake only, just fucking slide in there. This was just totally something different.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's just the cost of doing business. You're on a motorcycle, you just take that risk.
Yeah.
You know, but it can happen in anything. A car, a fucking e-bike, whatever, dude, you know?
Yeah, what do you guys got a lot of parts coming out, or as you said, they are out. You just haven't really posted about them.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's usually our style.
Well, I got to shout you guys out because, like I said, on this FXR build that I just wrapped up, the primary situation is a game changer, in my opinion. I think that the primary service that you guys offer to have mid controls drilled, ready to go on the modern bikes, because not a lot of people have. You don't need them on the older ones because the older twin cams have the windows, right? But I'm an advocate for the modern 6-speed transmissions, the 09 and up transmissions and drivetrains. I think is good shit. It all seems pretty similar to what is still on the bikes today, and doing that twin cam swap, using that service essentially, and also removing the little fucking pivot thing for the front. Solid. And the price point, you can't beat it. I see, what else did we use from yours? We y'all seat design from Saddlemen that y'all co-brand. We use that seat. We did since we did the 49 millimeter front end, we did the steering stabilizer. Yeah, I've never ridden a bike with a Harley with a stabilizer on it.
It's got a Harley stabilizer, or it's got
no, just in general, like with the stabilized front end on it, and it's kind of one of those weird things where we were talking about earlier about having the drivetrain line before you do anything else. I'm like, I think it's a line, but I wonder if this thing right here is solving all the problems in the front, at least, is what it felt like.
It can.
Yeah.
Had some other bikes that we built before, some experimental bikes, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was having some issues, but we didn't really know it because the steering stabilizer was taking care of a lot of it.
Yeah.
And then when the steering stabilizer comes off of it or is turned way down, it's like fucking death trap.
So yeah.
That seems like a good, for Dynas, because like I said, we adapted it so it would work on the FXR frame and the neck the way it works. But as a solving issue for a 49 millimeter Dyna, for Dyna problems, it seems like it's a fucking solid little deal,
Sure.
Let's see, what else? Fucking,
you use the side plates, right?
No, I've used all side plates on my FXRs, but I did a kit from Arnell that does a Moto Gadget setup.
Yeah.
And so he came with some side plates that were aluminum and nice. They worked out well. Fucking y'all's well nuts that y'all sell. Fucking the battery tie down, which is crazy how many FXRs don't have tie downs. And it's just
that's one of those parts of over the years, guys will just take it off and fucking stick the battery in and forget.
Yeah.
Same. There's some kickstand parts that we make too for the 91 and laters that you'd be surprised how many 91 and laters are missing. They run 2 springs. There's a secondary arm. There's a little lug that puts tension on one of the springs. You'd be surprised how many 91 and laters are just one spring and guys are trying to figure out why their kickstands are floppy or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's a long spring. There's 2 long springs, and they're trying to run a short spring, like on the 90 and earlier.
Yeah, so it's back to your point about these FXRs, depending on what and whose hands they've been on, will depend on whether or not you need to get it back to baseline before you start messing with it. And with you guys having all these products to solve even those basic like issues, like I mean, I've seen it on the walls in there, you know, but at the same time, being on the website, just kind of, you know, going down the list. All right, we need this. This is only $15. Why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It becomes one of those situations. Can't remember if there was anything else like specifically that I was running off of the website, but I'd asked him, I was like, hey, do y'all do that service for the primaries for the M8s as well? Because to me, I feel like that's the way to go. Like
all of our M8 FXRs are done like that. We've sent them out for shops and Harley dealerships and other people that we know that are doing M8 FXRs. You know, they've reached out to us, and we have a few that are done for customer builds. But that's another part that we just need to get on the site to put out there.
Yeah. And then what else was it? How many, like, do y'all still do quite a bit of M8 swap frames for people, like on the regular? Or?
It always seems to be in waves.
Yeah.
We get a bunch of them, and then it kind of chills out, and we get a wave of them, and then it chills out. So I think probably right now, because there's a lot of people doing it. There's more people doing it, and a lot of people taking it on themselves. But with that side of it, you don't know how much work it is until you do one.
Yeah.
Or until you get yourself into one, and it's not a entry level.
No.
Yeah.
Entry level endeavor. You need to be. Can people do it that are not entry level? Yeah, but it's going to be sketchy.
It's not twin cam swap.
It's not a twin cam swap, no. And that's like what people have asked us over the years, like, oh, you guys going to do a kit, you're going to do a kit, you're going to do a kit. For me, I don't see, and we've done probably 40, 50 frames, I would say.
Yeah, twin cam M8 combination.
Yeah.
We've done quite a bit.
To do like a quote unquote kit, they're all so different because Harley tolerances have never been great. So every one of them, like if we were going to give you any kind of like plate to try to do it, like at one point we tried to make, I made a template, we drew everything up, like we have a table, a sheet table we cut everything out on, and we made a whole template, and it fit the frame perfect. And then we did another one immediately after that, cut the same plate out, but it didn't fucking fit at all. So to give you something that's going to work from frame to frame to frame, it's going to have to be so wide and so universal that I'm not saving you any time. You can just go buy a piece of sheet metal and
cut it out,
and cut it out yourself and make yourself a paper template. Like I'm selling you something that is, to me, is useless. Like you're just taking money for no reason. And it's something that is so labor intensive to be able to cut all that stuff out, because one thing people don't understand until you do it either is there's so many layers on the inside of that backbone. There's so many layers of tubes, round tube, square tube, flat plate that are all coming together.
Like webbing, there's some webbing under there too.
Webbing in there, like it's fucking. It'll take you a whole day just to cut, 8 to 10 hour day, just to cut all the shit out of the way, and get in there and grind and clean, and and get everything removed before you can even move forward on.
When you do those, do you still retain the center motor mount, top motor mount, or do you go to the front?
You go to the front motor mount.
Yeah.
The problem with retaining the top motor mount is with the throttle body and all the fuel injection stuff.
Yeah.
The fuel rail is right there in the way. So it's to do any kind of straight over link.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
To do like some kind of jog or something weird like that. So
it just makes more sense to use the front.
Yeah, and then we have a secondary rear stabilizer link that we put on like all the twin cam and M8 frames too. That there's a space on the transmission where you could pretty much bolt another stabilizer to come off, and we have a provision on the frame that you can tie that to give extra stability to that drivetrain. But yeah, every single one of them has been different frame wise though.
Too, like even just like setting it up, it's not because there's no. It's not like a twin cam swap or a factory Evo setup to where if you get something a little bit off, you can make the adjustment to do the drive on alignment. You can't do that on EMA stuff because it just captures in the front, it captures in the rear. So when you're putting all that stuff together, if you're not square and you're not true down the center of the bike, your drivetrain's going in crooked. So they make these kits, oh yeah, you weld this little piece in, you do this. Well, what are you using for fixturing? What do you have figured out to make sure that thing is true? It's plumb, it's square into the frame, that it's not sitting a little bit off in the front, or it's not leaning to one side so that the whole ass end of the bike is leaning one way or the other. There's a lot more that goes into it rather than just, you cut this scallop out and you weld these pieces in and then you bolt this shit in. For me, it's not a kit type of situation.
In theory, could you maybe have solid mount rear bushings?
We use those on the monoshock stuff because you still have to capture the transmission on there. So, but you don't want it to move because otherwise that monoshock would dip to the side. If you have any sort of rubber isolator in there, you're going to get some sort of movement and vibration in there. So we use solid ones for the rear. I've heard of guys using like solid mounting their swing arms and stuff like that on a rubber mounted bike, but then you have a rubber mounted front.
I say to use that for the initial setup to square the transmission, and then twin cams and M8s, like they, you
can, like we have, that's part of what we use for part of our fixture, but it involves doing all the measurements, machining all the pieces, and then having those for setup. That's going to add hundreds of dollars to a quote unquote kit for you to be able to set this stuff up. So it's not, it's not just to cut the shit out of the way and weld the shit back in. You have to set everything up, and you have to measure it and make sure that it's in there correctly.
And we have a motor and a transmission that we use every single time, just to make sure that alignment is on point.
I'm going to ask these questions because I'm possibly going to end up doing one. So this is how I get my free knowledge right over here. Right. So do you do this or yeah? No,
I'm sure you'll be making some phone calls.
Oh, dude, I fucking had to call him on the twin cam just to make sure.
You got Corey there too, and Corey's a great reference.
Corey's been invaluable, or is invaluable a good way?
Invaluable. Sure.
He's just been a very valuable asset.
You can't put a value on it.
Exactly. But I did have to FaceTime Justin about. There was I know that it's. I was like, where's the baseline that the kickstand crossbar? Where's it typically supposed to be? And I struggled with it because where I wanted to put it would have, and actually where I wanted to put it would have been better off, like in a lot of aspects. But because it was my first one, I went with the specs that you kind of laid out. That was what typically happened. But I was dealing with the oil lines coming out of the fucking twin cam motor, which
because you had the SNS and you had to do that,
and that, so you had to space the motor up like higher on the front motor mount and like clock it a little bit higher, because otherwise
you have to dish that cross member. That's how we only really use the 09. They like the SNS stuff. I don't think they do that.
No, that's what. That's what we talked about. Is that like we're lucky because we have Nick Trask and those guys here, and so when we get the 07 and later SNS motors, we just take it over there. They have a fixture plate and they'll pull the cam and bore the holes so that you can just marry right up to an 09 and later transmission without any issue. Instead of having to fuck around with a $500 kit and all the time and using their little schematic thing to fucking drill it and then having to worry about clearance issues like you had to run into.
That was the only kind of issue there. And then, the like if I was able to move the I probably had like an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch between the front edge of the cross member and the M8 motor, lower part of the case. But I feel like that would have also solved. I had a lot of issues with the primary wanting to touch the mid control on the left side.
So you
But
move it forward or back?
I left it where it was and just clearanced everything else, and then had it all powder coated and everything. But if I would have moved it forward, because what happened is like one of the bottom bolt holes for the primary was right where. So if I was just like 1/4 inch forward, would have cleared the whole thing. So that was where I was like, well, I should just do this. That was my first judgment thing. But like I said, I was concerned about.
It's always better to just to have the drivetrain in it and then go that way.
Well, that's kind of what I was doing, but I still, like I said, I because I haven't done this a lot.
You shouldn't have called me out.
One of the workarounds though that Justin's figured out is I think we did it on the police MA. He ran like a new style Softail kickstand up in the front. So
I've heard of people doing that too.
Made a tab so that it bolted right up, and then that kickstand just lived right under the primary, and so there was no clearance issue whatsoever. You just grabbed it like you would grab on a lowrider ST or whatever, and you don't have that crazy gangster lean issue that you have going on and all that other stuff too. Yeah.
So when I want to redo my my FXR shop. I want to do version 2.0 of it, and like I said, I want to do the primary setup with you guys. But I was, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this kickstand thing, because Frank from Speed Dealers is not making those kickstands he used to make anymore. I think they're kind of like the way the West Coast Choppers ones were back in the day, where they had the tab. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the weld-on tab.
Yeah. If I'm wrong, Frank, I'm sorry, I got the wrong information, but I was under the impression that he's not going to run those anymore. So I got to fix the frame that TPJ helped solve when I was on my trip last 2 years ago. But I need to take it apart, fix all that stuff.
You had a machinist welding kickstands.
Dude, I didn't even know if you knew how to turn this fucking welder on when we got there. I was like, I've had a Miller 200 synchro wave.
Out of it.
Yeah, dude, I did.
Cranks out of it.
To fucking slap it a couple times. But yeah, I want to figure out a kickstand situation that kind of works and is aesthetically kind of pleasing in that area, So
the Softail kickstand is nice.
Nice. I have to look into
well, and it hides up underneath the primary. You don't have all that shit hanging off the bottom of it.
Yeah.
There's like a Dyna kickstand, the crossmember and all that stuff. It absolutely solves the problem of the FXR kickstand, but since that, there's better technology. So
I will say that,
but it's more work to do the Softail one than it is to do that
okay.
Dyna kickstand crossmember, right? Because it's already set up. You weld the crossmember in, you get the pieces. Like, it's a great setup.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have the means, you're doing all this M8 swap shit, you're doing all this stuff, and you're skilled enough to do all that. Absolutely fucking figure out a tab to weld onto the frame to run this.
Well, and it's a lot easier to service, because when you're doing the Dyna stuff, you always install that kickstand first, and then everything goes in over that. With the Softail stuff, it's bolted to the frame outside, so you can just unbolt it right there and do whatever servicing issue you need to do. Yeah,
definitely gonna look into that, because that sounds like a much better situation. But yeah, that's kind of the thing, is like the twin cam swap stuff that wasn't as hard. Like I was telling him when I was clearancing everything for the wider rear fender, I didn't brace anything, so I just went to town, welding all this shit up, and then I got it to Corey's, and it's all fucking crooked. And
that shit shrinks and moves and everything every time you fuck welding it. That's another thing when modifying those frames, is like you can't just sit there and put a bunch of heat to it and then keep going. There's a process where it's weld a little here, weld a little there, let it cool. Weld a little here, weld a little there, let it cool.
Yeah.
So
I thought I was doing that, but I guess I'd need to have some kind of real gauge of what is.
You still need to have some sort of fixturing to hold it.
Yeah.
As you're welding, right? But even the fixturing, it's a welded part, so all you're doing with fixturing is trying to mitigate the movement as much as you can.
Yeah.
Keep it to a minimum. It's going to move. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If it's a welded part, it's going to move. But the whole purpose of any kind of fixturing is to hold it as in place as possible. And then even after that, you still can go back, measure everything, make sure that it's where it is.
Yeah. I try to judge the amount of heat I'm putting into something just by how, what did you call it? Like when the heat.
Zone.
Yeah. So I noticed.
That changes too, depending on what you're welding.
Yeah. How thick it is and things like that.
How thick it is, and also like in that situation where you're talking about, where you're welding a plate into the halved piece of tube. There's not a whole lot of surface area to hold. So if you're welding here, like it's gonna wrap around a little further probably than it would on something else. And then you weld one side of it, and then you weld the other side of it. But the heat effective zone's gonna come around and touch, and the whole thing's gonna be purple. So it's a fucking balance.
I'm in for it, man. I'm interested in all that shit. Yeah, I was in a hot, like, maybe, I don't know how much you guys have followed this, but I haven't really either much, but since we're all pretty Harley people here. Have y'all seen all the Indian slander coming at Harley?
I saw some. What the hell was that? Somebody told me about a video.
I haven't paid too much attention.
But somebody told me about it the other day about all the bagging on the new CEO and our CEO, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even watched the video that they put out, but whatever. But I have been reached out by a lot of people about, what do you think? And I've been trying to get this fucking bike dialed, the other one gone, so I haven't been able to pay attention to any of it.
Try not to pay too much attention to that shit. Most of the time, it's because somebody sent it to me, and I'm like, nah, I pay it.
Yeah. It was good not to be on it. Yeah, I don't know. I just brought it up. Somebody on this trip is gonna be like, dude, I'm so glad you asked me that.
Somebody. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
doesn't really affect us.
Yeah.
I hope it has a positive effect and by way of competition. Like, I think Indian existing and them pushing hard and continuing to grow, or whatever the new chapter is, if they're able to be more free flowing and make changes quicker than Harley can, because we all know Harley can't make quick changes. It's too big of a machine. It's too cumbersome for them to make quick turns. I hope that allows them to become a better brand and push for Harley to be better.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think with our industry, it's all fucking competition. It's all good for all of us.
The biggest thing, like I always wonder about, is like it doesn't seem. I don't know about Indian, but it seems like lately all the CEOs on the motor company side, none of them have anything to do with motorcycles. They don't ride. They haven't been around motorcycles. They've managed and built other companies that have nothing to do with the motorcycle industry. So it's like that's my only thing, is like trying to understand how you're trying to grow an industry that's a lifestyle industry that's been around for 100 and something years, and people are into it because it's Harley Davidson and like the American motorcycle company, etc. But you have people running it that have nothing or knowledge about motorcycles.
Yeah. That's the hot take. That's, I think, one of the things that I think is being brought up a lot. I think that was the initial, gotcha or slander or whatever that was thrown from Indian. And a lot of the takes are like, a lot of the pro Harley stuff, which, we've both worked with Harley and stuff like that. A lot of people are saying, well, that's the CEO's job is to turn the business around, not so much the product, as opposed to, how do you turn around? I do agree with you that, like, actually, I would just say this, like, I wonder how do you fucking fix Harley? Is it broken, really? I don't think it's broken, because I mean, look at these cool ass bikes that are coming out.
I mean, I think it's individually opinion based.
Yeah, I mean, if you're,
I think they have a great product, and everybody bitches about the price point. I think the hard thing to really bitch about the price point is everything's fucking expensive now. So how can we really say that that's a crazy price when you're looking at old trucks? Well, I'll use fucking old 4-wheel drive trucks for an example. 5 years ago, which you could get for $5,000 for a fixer upper that kind of runs, you're gonna pay $20,000 for now. So why does that? If that's the case, then why is a fucking base model road glide at $35,000? Why is that crazy for a brand new motorcycle? Because you're gonna go into a dealership for a car, and if you want, unless you're trying to get a fucking Kia Sorento, or something like
Some
that.
super base model
You're gonna
shit.
fucking pay. Your base model is gonna be 60 G's, 70 G's to go in and buy a fucking diesel truck right now, $100,000.
Yeah.
But in the fucking mid 2000s Duramaxes are $25,000 with fucking 200,000 miles on them.
Yeah.
If we're being like, I guess, relative and comparative about it, is it really that expensive where everything's at right now? A base model home here that 5-6 years ago was $100,000 is now $450,000.
Yeah.
It's everything has jumped up. So why would we expect them to be able to build a base model or an entry level bike that's under $10,000? Unless you like the bikes that are coming from India and China and shit like that. I understand that's most people's comparison. Like, well, I can go buy a Royal Enfield for $7,000. We're not really comparing apples to apples.
Yeah. And I think that's the point right there. That's it 100%. Why, like, you can't compare that. It's like you're not getting, there's no Royal Enfield lifestyle. Right. There's no Royal Enfield world that you're becoming a part of. Right. And all the people that aren't really a part of this, they can't put a price tag on it or justify spending the money to get into a culture, right.
Yeah. That is part of it, because you're not just buying a motorcycle, you're buying a brand.
Yeah.
That comes with a lifestyle, which is what we've all.
Well, I mean, like, for instance, on paper, Indian has built a bike, the Challenger, and they statted it out. It's got all the stats in the world that, on paper, we should go buy that. If it was a house and a house, and we just looked at the paper instead of, that ain't the house I want because how it looks, yeah, you're getting a lot for your money, and this you're not. But then you go look at the things that you're buying, you're like, yo, like I'm drawn to this, yeah. Right? Well, and like, so that aesthetic.
This house checks all the boxes, but there's no yard. This one's missing a few things, but it's on an acre. Fuck, all right, I'm going with that.
I can work with
this. Add to the shit.
This one's customizable. This one you're stuck.
You're stuck, right? There's not much you can do to it.
Yeah. But it kind of goes back to the whole conversation of like we're from a generation or an era of, I want to make this mine. Maybe not to the degree of like this Road Glide right here, but I got to do something to this. I got to make this feel like mine. I feel like ingrained in whatever they were feeding us back in the 80s and 90s. But younger people might not have that, like, I want to make it mine kind of feel. And older people seem to kind of like be hit or miss with it, right? So I personally like leaving a little bit of room on the plate to add whatever I want to the bike. I like that. I don't want it to be a done product, right. Because if it was a done product, you won't have an aftermarket. And an aftermarket is what creates the culture.
We all talk shit about Harley falling short and really being at 90% with their finished product. But if there wasn't that 10%, none of us, we wouldn't be sitting on these couches talking about this right now.
Right. Yeah.
We need that. We need them to fall short in order for us to have a life, an existence.
Or, yeah, we need them to have whatever rules and stipulations that they have to fit into the box.
That they can't make that.
So that we
10% really isn't in their control.
Yeah.
But I think the Indian versus Harley argument, other than them being both, American companies, it's the same thing as comparing a Harley to a Goldwing. If I wanted a bike that was everything that I wanted to be off the showroom, I'll go buy a Goldwing or I'll go buy an Indian. But I want it to be, like you said, customizable. It's not. We're not. I don't think we're comparing apples to apples. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, it's a way better performing bike off of the showroom, but aesthetically, you definitely falls short of Harley.
Oh yeah, and that's my whole gripe. Like when I got to go do the Indian, release for last year. I mean, dude, the people that work there, solid, like really good people. Rode the bike. It's fucking sick. But I even asked them, I even talked to them while we were at the still. I was like, I appreciate you guys bringing me out. You guys know I'm a huge hater of this brand. Got to give you respect for asking me to come, right? Yeah. But I told him, I was like, I still do not, I don't know what it is, but like there's nothing drawing me to walk into an Indian dealership. Yeah. And I guess like the reason I haven't, like, I don't want to make a public statement, but I'll, in this conversation, everything the Indian needs to be what Harley is what they don't understand about Harley. And the dude that's now the CEO there was from Harley, right? So it's like, if you don't understand the culture of this, that's what you want, but you can't build culture overnight. You can't spec a bike out and expect it to be a culture. Like, what's the resale value of these Indians? Is there a resale market? Is there, how much are they supporting like Forever Rad Kyle and the Carrie Harts and the people that are making products for these bikes? Because those are the guys that are going to create the culture for them, right?
Yeah, I think they've done well by aligning themselves with, like Hartby and guys like that. And they're trying to go after some of the other guys in that same vein. Carrie and Brian definitely being the main two, the most important ones. I think that they've aligned themselves with.
Yeah.
Very, very smart. Move on their part. But again, it's like I don't have any issue with Indian as a brand.
Yeah.
Like as a brand, as an aesthetic, and everything about it, like it's got a cool look, it's got a cool feel. Some of the things they do are cool. I don't love the product. That's the issue with it. If they had a killer looking bike, I like motorcycles.
Yeah.
So, like, they don't primarily Harley shit, but again, I just like motorcycles. If they had a fucking awesome bike, let's do something with it. I just haven't
gonna buy an
seen
Indian?
that yet. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, that's just the thing, is that how many times has Indian been sold?
Yeah. I wanted to make the statement of like, well, I'm sorry guys, I'm out here on my 1977 Harley Davidson. I'm sorry, I can't say that about my Indian.
Yeah.
And maybe.
But I wanted to like double check to make sure that wasn't one of the few years they came back for like a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But essentially, you get the point.
And then again, it's aesthetically, there's like the earlier Indians, like the early 1900 ones and shit like that. Those are fucking bitching. But there's been nothing since then. I mean, even all through the 60s and 70s and 80s and whatever, guys weren't chopping up Indians.
Yeah.
And
Triumph has a bigger a closer relationship to the custom motorcycle world than Indian does.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe this is an opportunity. Indian, what's happening? You guys need us to come into the design room, fucking come up with some shit? We're ready. All we need is Heart and B money, fly first class, we're fucking there. Let's make it happen.
It's not I think that like that's a smart thing that's what they should have been doing from the jump, because
info at Fxr-Division.com.
ultimately it comes down to that. I think that you can great bike on paper, cool, you did all the things, but I don't like the way the bike looks. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Maybe I'm also very biased because I'm so ingrained to what a Harley looks like that when I see something that's kind of like a Harley, not implying that they're copying, just it's a American made cruiser, so it's gonna have a similar aesthetic as Harley. It just looks off the same way. In some ways that looks off to me when I'm comparing it to an FXR. Yep. So it's like when it's its own thing and whatever that is, I mean, that's got to be the hardest thing in the world. So I have sympathy for Indian to figure out how to go up against such a legacy brand like Harley. But I also don't really have a lot of respect for the way they decided to attack it. And if they're winning on the track and that's cool, then that's all you really got to do. But when you go out and you start poking fun at things like that, it's like a Trump move kind of thing. Like,
that's what I was going to say. It's a pretty popular move in our current culture. Sure. Is to just shit on people and whatever. And I can't tell you whether it's right or wrong. I'm not.
Yeah. I've never bought a bike from anybody, any brand that I've ever, and actually knew who the fuck the CEO was and gave a fuck what they did.
Yeah. You're not buying it because of the CEO.
Yeah. I'm not buying. Yeah. Like, honestly, short of nowadays, like all this shit's politicized, where we know behind these curtains of what this brand is and that brand does, and they support this, and that's all corporate shit. That's on another fucking playing field that I don't think that we fuck around on.
It's not. I can tell you that we met the last CEO and the new CEO, and both polite, shook our hands. face to face.
Yeah.
There were dicks. There were nothing else. I don't really think else about it other than that. So,
I mean, I agreed. I think that like the products that are coming out, the new Road Glides, all this stuff, like they're fucking bitching. They're really, really great products. They're way almost to the point where like maybe there's only 5% now that needs on these bikes to kind of like fully be yours. That new Road Glide, that 26, like since I've had it, I threw bars, seat, exhaust, air cleaner. That's really all it fucking needs, man.
Right.
And that's just so that I can hear this motor going.
Right.
And the air cleaner, I don't even know if it actually does anything. It just looks better. And then the bars and the seat are just for comfort, you know? So it's like you don't need to do much to them to have like a fun bike to ride,
Right.
you know? But I don't know, man. It's just, I just brought it up because like I said, it's been something that keeps popping up and I have no real formed opinion on it. And honestly, whatever opinion I have, it's probably gonna be biased because I'm in love with this brand.
You're never going to compete with, 121 years now of continuous production and continuous branding, marketing, that lifestyle that's built around it.
Yeah.
It's going to take you a long time to compete with that. And then in this last iteration of it, which is, I would still consider this as a continuation, where it's at now is a continuation of that. So that was what, 16? 15, 16 around there, was it?
What, when
they came back as when Polaris.
Oh yeah, no, it was earlier than that. 'Cause remember when Dirty Bird and them were all trying to make long stretch side covers and all that shit?
Okay. So
That was like 12, 13.
Okay. So
I think they were running side by side with Victory for a while.
it was the same. Yeah, it was the same brand.
Yeah.
When I think Polaris purchased both, and then they squashed the Victory after only a couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it's going to take years continuing to do that.
Maybe they should just stop trying to compete.
Just be their own thing.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to compete? The only reason that you're competing is because you're both heritage American brands, but your heritage is chopped up throughout. So we just say, hey, you know what, fuck them, we're not. They stand over there, we stand over here. Well, that's a better marketing play.
Yeah. I will say that like on the Harley side of it with the new CEO coming in, like I know that they budget cut a lot of things and, had to figure some things out, but I think it's very important for them to continue to support the events and stuff that they've had their hands on, the Born Frees and, Party at the Pins or whatever these events are, because, like that's where the culture it lives. You know what I'm saying? And, a lot of these events, Danger Dan said it really good. We were talking the other day. He goes, well, it's not good for you to build an event and Harley jumps in originally and helps you grow it. But if you can start an event and get it going and Harley can come in and help it, that's good. Born Free was running for a long time before Harley came along and started offering to help out with, or, investing in it, as a sponsor, things like that.
And them jumping in has made that event even better because what Harley's doing is they're taking new builders, fresh builders, like people that some people might not even know about, giving them bikes and saying, hey, here's a canvas. We're not putting any stipulations on you. Do exactly what you think you want to do with it. Make it yours, bring it back to the show and show everybody what you can do with your Harley Davidson.
Well, how awesome is that too? Because most of us remember the days where like Harley didn't want anybody other than Harley to touch it, right?
I would say that happened all the way up until 2018.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
2018 was the pivotal moment in them turning. Then
because there was such disdain for getting rid of the Dyna and going to the much better Softail format, because everybody knows now after riding them that they're 1,000 times better than a Dyna. Like I always tell people that FXRs were Dyna killers and chopper killers, but the new Softail format it's an FXR killer. Like FXRs they're classic. They've got style. They're not made anymore. So that's a bike that it's going to have nostalgia. But if you want to jump on a bike that'll outperform that bike just right off of the showroom floor, even with the fucking gay exhaust that you can't even hear and shit like that, a new Softail is going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and like we've done big dollar FXR builds for people, just Evo FXR builds. And you could get a brand new Softail for far less than what it costs to do a ground up FXR build right.
Then that also plays into the idea of like, well, you know, not exactly, but kind of like just buying it off the showroom floor and not really having much of a connection to it versus what it's like to actually build or have a bike built and it's like yours and personal and, you know, kind of it's a different feeling that I think that you can't.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of factors involved. It's like, do you want to be able to get into something right now and fucking join the party? Or do you want to like have to save up your pennies and buy this clapped out fucking bike and then build it, you know, up to where you want it to be, and it's going to take the 6 or 8 months or however long it's going to take to build, you know, that you're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like you said, it's like the second bike thing. So if you're a first time dude and you got the credit and you can go over there and, you know, sign the name, drop a deposit, and roll out and be at bike night that night.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't beat that. Or if you're just a dude like, hey, you know what? I want to build a bike, but also new Road Gladys tits. I kind of just want to have that just as a, you know, me and the wife, or if I just need to go around, like, makes sense, you know?
Ladies are gonna be much happier on the back of that Road Gladys than she on the back of that FXR.
For sure.
Yeah. My wife is just happier in the car, all together. So.
That happens too.
Yeah, I think it's you know, again, it's really important that Harley doesn't take their finger off the cultural pulse.
For sure.
And you know, I feel like a lot of things they've been doing, like I've actually heard from a lot of dealerships that the last CEO was really not dealership centric. Like he really caused a lot of problems for a lot of dealerships to try to like do what they need to do. And I think the new CEO is more dealership, pro dealership, I think, like really trying to get them back on their feet and help. And I think that's why they're all very optimistic about the new CEO. I just hope that they don't like, I haven't met them yet. And you know, other than like the same people that you guys know, that the Matts and the Taylors and those, that's really all I know. So I just hope that they don't pull the plug on what they built since 2018 with working with the actual people involved in it, not just YouTubers. You know what I'm saying?
The only way I think they're going to survive is they just got to keep supporting the people that are supporting them.
Yeah.
You know, the blue collar guy or the whoever goes to the Born Freeze and the party at the Pens or the Harley Davidson bike night or whatever, you know, you support those people.
The hog chapter. Dude.
Yeah. You don't try to jump into any other bullshit out there. You support the people that are constantly going to be there for you and supporting your brand and giving you money and touring the country on your product. You know, who gives a fuck about anybody else? Fuck the 1 or 2% people out there that you're trying to target that are never gonna fucking own your motorcycle. Yeah. Stick to your base. Keep your base happy, and they're gonna keep you happy.
That's typical like boardroom corporate meeting type shit where they are wondering why that little gray area over there is not being tapped into, and they want to resource everything over there and take away from what they already have. And that's like, again, to the point of like not knowing culture. Like this Harley's not a brand the same way it's a product. It is a product. It is a lot of other things, but no other brand out there other than maybe Jeep has like this kind of a cultural like thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the same. No.
It's not the same. No. You know, I mean, the little ducks or whatever the fuck they do.
Yeah.
That's usually starting to fast life ducks for your Red Glide.
I got a Jeep, baby. I put them in my Jeep. I don't know if you're allowed to do it in your Grand Cherokee though. It has to be like a Wrangler or something like that. But yeah, it's a unique thing. I mean, and think about I would say, you know, I wish Harley would lean into the culture that really cemented it into the world, which is that 60s and 70s, you know.
I think they've been doing that a lot more in the last handful of years.
I am disappointed they don't have anything from David Mann in the museum.
Yeah. It's
But
kind of bullshit for sure.
you know, walk into anybody's shop in America that loves the shit, and you're gonna find one on the wall somewhere. It's right there.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider. That's a puzzle. Fuck, that's sick. Yeah, so I don't know. I love it all, but fucking is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, and they got to
Should-
continue with it. I think I know they had some changes in the people that were marketing people and stuff like that. But I know like Miranda did a lot of stuff helping bringing back that, getting them involved in
Yeah.
a lot of stuff with like Party to Pin, I think, and a lot of those types of things. And I'm hoping that some of the like Taylor and some of the other ones that are still there are able to keep that going. They allow them to keep that going because again, I think that is a massive thing. Just connecting the big motor company to all of us little
Yeah.
peasants down here doing all this shit. It shortens that gap because you go to all these events, and yes, Harley is a brand sponsoring there, but also you have people from Harley Davidson there. It's not like, oh yeah, we threw them a couple bucks to and let them put the logo on it. Like, no, you have people from Harley there, and you're mingling with these people that work at the motor company, and it's massive. I think it's the same thing as like, getting bike builders together as well, and like we're all the same fucking people.
Yeah.
We're all the same people, so we need to cohesively just be on the same plane, and nobody's fucking better than anybody else, and we're all here to do the same shit, and we all need to work together and support each other.
Yeah.
So I understand that they're a massive machine. It takes more for them to be able to support and do things, but
Yeah. Again, Miranda was a huge part of like connecting a lot of the builders that hadn't really had the opportunity to do the Born Free build, things like that. Just bringing people together in great ways and finding ways to do shit. She did a lot, and I mean, it seems like Taylor and Matt and them are all still like carrying her ethos in the brand and whatnot. And I think for people out there that don't know about like, because if you watch these YouTubers that sit in their garage and they just like bitch about whatever, Chat GPT write up of whatever the quarter 4 earnings are.
That's like clickbait shit.
Yeah, it is. But like
people.
they harp on like ideas or things that are being said, but it's just like creating more negative things that aren't really. It's not that big of a. I'm gonna say it's that big of a deal. It doesn't matter to us, like.
It's also not a conversation. It's just the continued like gotcha shit.
Yeah. But I also don't I just don't want them to like shit on all these people that actually have done a lot of great things for this culture and the brand, because they might not be tuned into that. They might be looking at just their hog chapter stuff or whatever the case may be, and it's just unfortunate. But I don't know. I love the brand. I'm stoked to be able to work with them finally. I don't want to see the progress that's been made over the last 7-8 years now, thrown in the wind for some new ideas and be alienated again from this brand that's like, we've all been working around.
It would be nice if it fucking balanced out a little bit, because it's been almost 10 years since the first time that we worked with Harley, and there's been 3 or 4 guard changes since then. It's like, how do you continue? That's been the hardest thing, is like, how do you continue a relationship? Like this the current individuals that are there have been probably the longest.
Yeah.
So we have a good relationship with them, but then when they go away, or if they go away, hopefully they don't, hopefully they're able to maintain and everything works out. And I think it's on both sides. I think that sometimes a motor company just, new CEO comes in, changes happen, whatever, like, and they don't care, they don't understand what these people, the roots these people have put down, and the groundwork and the relationships that they have, and they just clean house and start over. And also I think it has to do with those individuals. They get tired of dealing with this big corporate machine always being in the way, and then they leave. So maybe some balance over there as well, so that we can continue these relationships. But when new people coming in, they may or may not even know much about the culture either.
Yeah.
And then they don't know who the players are, or who they are, or who we should shine a spotlight on, and they're shining a spotlight on random people that
sometimes the people that are really good at talking are not the ones you need to have in there running the show.
Yeah, it just an influencer doesn't mean that you have any substance within the culture.
Yeah.
Like, look for people that have substance, that have something to contribute. They're continually trying to better the life, better the industry. You know, not just people that are hot at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. Well, guys, y'all ready? I'm hungry. Are you still awake?
I'll be wide awake as soon as I get some Durants and a bourbon.
Fuck yeah. Did you keep some of that money? Or you put all that?
It's your turn, buddy.
They took me to Durant's a couple of years ago, and I said I got steaks when they come to Texas, but I was going to take them to Texas Roadhouse. So.
You're going to go by yourself.
All right, guys. I
real steaks.
appreciate everything, and let me hang out here all day and get in the way. It was fun watching him kick over a bike.
Yeah.
You did a lot better than I did. I thought I was going to have to help you for a minute. I was like,
no.
he's got
That's the first time I've seen him kick a bike in fucking forever.
Yeah.
He did good.
I can't even tell you the last time I kicked a bike either.
Yeah.
He was really throwing the gas. I was like, oh, that's a lot. And then I was like, in my head, I'm like, wait, I want to see, because he's been doing this longer than I have. I was like, fuck, it fucking popped off real quick. God damn. So, no, that's awesome. All right, cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys watching these podcasts. Once again, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, all that good stuff, wherever you're listening to it or watching this. And we're going to see you on the next episode, which is going to be with my guys over at Thrashing Supply. We'll be back next week with those guys. And until then, you guys have a good one. Peace.